In this video, we'll study about the measurements of workability. So before going to the measurements of workability, I hope you have understood about the concept of workability and the difference between workability and consistency and the factors affecting the workability. So after studying about these things, next we'll move on to the measurements of workability, that how we can able to measure the workability and what are the different methods that we are going to study from this video. So there are different tests to measure the workability of concrete. So first one is the slump test, compaction factor test, VB consistometer, flow test, and Kelly ball test. So totally there are five methods to measure the workability, out of which we can able to measure the workability which from the slump, compaction, VB, and flow test. Whereas Kelly ball test is also used to measure the workability of concrete, but since it gives the inaccurate results, and also in that test a large quantity of concrete is required. Okay, so whereas in the other four tests you don't require large quantity of concrete, whereas especially in Kelly ball test you require large quantity of concrete. So that test usually it is not adopted. So out of five we can use four tests for to measure the workability of the concrete. So the one common thing out of these five methods is the maximum size of the aggregate that you can use in all these five tests is only 38 mm. So the maximum size of aggregate is limited to 38 mm. So you more than 38 mm, if you adopt if you take the size of the aggregate, then you can't able to do the workability test in these five methods. So first we'll go to the slump test. So, a concrete slump test is used to measure the property of the fresh concrete. So, slump test is an spot test, because this test you can do on spot, because the device or the instrument that you require to do this test you can easily it is easily portable. So, slump test is a spot test which is used to determine the consistency as well as the workability of the concrete mix. So slump test is a method which is used to determine both consistency as well as the workability of the concrete mix. I hope you have know about the difference between the consistency and the workability. Both are not same. So slump test measures the consistency of the concrete mix, and it indirectly measures the workability of the concrete mix. So consistency means, it's a degree of fluidity. So slump test where the degree of fluidity can be measured directly, whereas based on the degree of fluidity which is there in the concrete mix, we can able to measure the workability of the concrete mix indirectly by measuring the slump value. Okay, so this test plays a very important role in ensuring the concrete quality, especially in the construction sites. So why? Because this test, slump test, can be done both in the laboratory as well as in the site, because it is very easy to do the experiment, and also it gives the result quite fast. It is simple. It is very simple and easy to handle, because test can be done at very short amount of time, and it is very easy. It will give the result very quickly. So in order to ensure a good quality in the construction projects, then we can easily adopt the slump test. Okay, so here in slump test, as already told, workability of concrete is not measured directly. Based on the consistency of the concrete, it gives a fair idea about the workability of the concrete mix. So this slump test is done. If I can give an example is, if a concrete has to be transported from the RMC plant to the construction site. So at the RMC plant also, uh, slump test has to be done before the concrete has been transported to the construction site. There also we have to check the consistency by, and also we have to do the slump test to measure the workability. Once the concrete has been transported from RMC to the required construction site, there also, before concrete is going to be placed, so before that we have to do the slump test to check whether the consistency obtained is same in the RMC plant and also in the construction site. So to know to maintain a proper water cement ratio and to properly maintain the slump, so in both the places we have to do this slump test. So that's why slump test, as I already told, it is a on spot test, okay, because we can able to do the test very quickly. So it is not suitable for very wet and very dry concrete. So if the concrete is having high consistency, or if the concrete is having low consistency, then we cannot able to adopt the slump test, because in a high consistency the concrete will be very wet, in the low consistency the concrete will be very dry. In both these cases slump test is not a suitable method to check the workability. Slump increases as the water content is increased. So slump value will be increased if the water content is increased in the concrete. If there is more water cement ratio, then the obtained slump also will be obtained slump value will be more. For different works different slump values are recommended. So I'll tell you about that in the coming picture which I will tell you. In each work the different the slump value obtained will be different, okay. So the slump which will be obtained will not be the same for all the works. I can give an example. See, if you take an example of this slump which is taken from IS 456 2000. So here you can see the obtained slump value is not same for all the types of uh, construction conditions, okay. If you example, if you take heavily reinforced sections in slab, beams and columns, there the obtained slump given is 50 to 100 and 75 to 100, which is measured in mm or centimeters, okay. Whereas if you take pavement mass concrete construction with the slump specified is 25 to 75. In each cases for different works there is different some slump value, okay. If we do a trial mix, say if we are constructing heavily reinforced section, that is the slump obtained should be 50 to 100, okay. So in both RMC plant as well as in the construction site, so the slump should be obtained is 50 to 100, okay. If the slump is not in the range of 50 to 100, say example, if the slump is obtained is more than 100 or less than 50, then that concrete is not suitable for the construction of heavily reinforced sections in slabs, beams, walls and columns. For what type of work you are doing, we should know. Based on that work the slump obtained also should be in that range only. It should not exceed also and it should not decrease also, okay. I hope you have uh, understood. Okay, for different works different slump values are recommended. So slump is not a true guide to workability, as this method is not reliable for stiff mixes of concrete. As I already told, this method is not suitable for dry mixes, that is the stiff mixes. However, for a given set of materials and their fixed proportion, this test proved to be a useful indication in the worksite. With a given set of materials and also for their proportions, this test found to be more useful in the site as well as in the laboratory. So to measure the slump, we have a slump cone which you can see in a picture. So it is the slump cone, or we also call it as Abraham's cone, whereas the top diameter is 10 centimeter or 100 mm, whereas the bottom is 20 centimeter and the height is 30 centimeter. Okay, so that is the dimension of a uh, slump cone. And also you have a base plate, okay, which will help to keep the slump cone, and also you have a tamping rod. So these are the instruments which is necessary to do the slump test. So this is the picture that gives the procedure of the slump test. You can see Abraham's cone which is mounted on a base plate, and the first and then concrete has to be filled in 3 layers, and after placing each layer concrete has to be tamped for 25 blows with 16 mm diameter rod. So you can see in both 1, 2 and 3 concrete has been placed in 3 layers, okay, each layer of 25 blows with 16 mm tamping rod. Once the concrete has been placed till the top, then it has to be made level by means of a trowel. Once it is made to once it the concrete surface top surface is made level, then we have to lift the slump cone. Okay, once we lift the slump cone, there should not be any disturbance to the concrete. Okay, so we should lift the cone without disturbing the concrete, and the concrete, once the cone is lifted, then the concrete will settle as it is due to gravity. Okay, so that vertical settlement is called as slump. Okay, you can see once in a fifth picture, once the cone is lifted, then the concrete tends to settle, which is due to its gravity. Okay, so the once whatever the concrete that going to settle, that vertical settlement is called as a slump. So this is how the slump value is measured. So there will be a vertical settlement of concrete by inverting a slump cone. Okay, with the tamping rod at the top of this inverted slump cone, and if you, by means of, with the benchmark of the tamping rod, we can able to measure the slump cone by means of a uh, measurement, that is a measuring scale. We can able to measure the slump in centimeter or in that is the slump test. That is the slump value. So this slump value indicates the, it indirectly indicates the workability of the concrete. So this is a concrete cube test. So usually concrete cube is used to check the compressive strength of concrete. So this we'll study in the further module. So now I'll directly go to the slump test. Sorry. So you can see slump cone where the concrete is mixed with the certain proportions. After doing the mixed design, these mixed proportions will be obtained. So based on those mixed proportion, we are able to mix the concrete. Then we have to fill the slump cone in 3 layers, each layer by giving tamping of 25 blows. So once the concrete has been filled till 3 layers, each layer by giving 25 blows, then we have to lift the slump cone. Then we have to lift the slump cone without disturbing the concrete. That portion, this is called as a vertical settlement, that is the slump. Okay, so by inverting the slump cone with the tamping rod at the top as a benchmark or as the reference point, you can keep tamping rod also at the top or any reference point from the Abrams cone. So that gives the slump value. If you observe in the picture, from the top of the slump to the measuring scale, so the slump given is slump obtained is around 6.4 centimeter or 64 mm. So this is how the slump test is done. So I'll just brief out the procedure. I'm not going to read entire thing. So first, the mold for the slump, that is a Abrams cone, 300 mm height, 200 mm in base diameter, and 100 mm top diameter. So this cone has to be the inside surface of the cone has to be completely oiled. Okay, and whatever the dust is there, we have to remove it, and we have to lubricate the internal surface of the cone, because concrete should not adhere to the surface. So each layer tamp 25 times with the standard 16 mm diameter rod with the rounded end, not with the flat end, with the rounded end. Once it is completely filled, the top surface is leveled by means of a trowel or any other device which is available. So then the mold is firmly fixed at the base. So once the top surface is completely filled, so the cone is lifted vertically. So whatever the concrete, it should not be disturbed, it should settle as it is. Okay, Then the decrease in the height of the center of the slump concrete is called as a slump. As I already told, the decrease in height or the vertical settlement is called as a slump. So the decrease in height of the concrete to that of a mold is noted with the help of a measuring scale. Okay, so whatever the concrete which has decreased by the help of a mold as a reference point, whatever we measure with the help of a measuring scale, that is called as a slump value. So this is one more video. So you can see how the concrete which is taken from by means of a transit mixer, that is a transit mixer most of you have seen. So before concrete is going to be placed in the construction site, as already mentioned, we have to do the slump test even in the site also, to check whatever the consistency and slump which is obtained in RMC plant, whether it is same even in the construction site also. To know that, we have to do the slump test. So same procedure. So concrete, as whatever the concrete I would obtain from the transit mixer, it is taken. So each layer it is stamped 25 times, as I already told. The top layer, till the top layer, the concrete has to be filled in 3 layers. Once the top layer is filled and it is given 25 blows, it has to be neatly trimmed off or not neatly leveled. Once it is lifted, we have to check the slump value by means of a measuring scale. So that gives the slump value. So as I already told, for different works we have different slump values based on the work that we are doing in the site. So the corresponding slump has to be obtained from the concrete. Okay, so in case if the for a very a low concrete, that is if the concrete having very dry or very stiff mix, or if the concrete is having very high workability, or if the concrete is having high consistency, then there are different tests also, because lump test cannot gives a suitable value for those type of concrete mixes. In case of dry mix, you can use compaction factor test, or in case of high consistency mix, then you can use the flow test. So these are different types of slump. So true slump is in a, you can see a bottom picture. So in a true slump, the concrete simply settles, keeping more or less to same shape of the cone. Okay, so once you lift the slump cone, if the concrete which going to settle, if it is in the shape of the cone only, then we call that as a true slump. Okay, next is shear slump. If in a shear slump, if a concrete shears off and slips sideways, that is if you can see there is an inclined surface when when you lift the concrete. So if the concrete settles in an inclined plane, then we call it as a shear slump. And collapse slump means, in the sense, when you lift the concrete, if more or less there is no shape, if concrete completely settles to the bottom, then we call it as a collapse slump. Collapse, collapse, collapse slump usually obtained for a very uh, high consistency concrete, or if the concrete is having very high workability, then there are more chances of getting a collapse slump. So in a site or in a laboratory, if you get a shear slump or if you get a collapse slump, then we have to take a fresh sample and then we have to repeat the same procedure. So there should be only true slump, there should not be having any collapse or the shear slump. So this is how we are going to measure the slump, as already you might have seen in the picture also. The slump test result is a measure of the behavior of the compacted cone of concrete under the action of gravity. As already told, concrete, once the mold is lifted, it settles due to its gravity only. So it measures the consistency or the wetness of the concrete. It measures the amount of water that is added to the concrete mix, that measures the consistency directly, but means by with the help of a slump value we are measuring the workability indirectly. Okay, so slump value is used to find the workability, which indicates water cement ratio that is used in the concrete mix, but also it indicates other factors, that as properties of materials and mixing methods, and also the dosage of admixtures if it is used also affects the slump value. Slump value always not always not dependent on the water cement ratio, but also it depends on the material that we use, and also it is also depend on the methods that is used for mixing, and also it depends on the admixtures if it is used. So all these will affect the slump value. What are the precautions to be taken in order to reduce the influence on the slump? There should be the, as I already told in the procedure, the mold and its base has to be completely lubricated by means of any lubricating agents, so that there should not be friction between the cone as well as the concrete, and also concrete should not adhere to the mold. So for that we have to make sure that it is lubricated. The internal surface of the mold has to be lubricated, and also prior to the lifting, so once the concrete is level, prior to the lifting, the surrounding of the mold, that is in the base plate and below the mold, has to be completely cleaned. Okay, then mold and base plate should be non-porous. That is, mold as well as the base plate should be non-porous, so that it should not take up the water. And also, concrete sample that we use, it should be fresh. That is, we should not take more time to do the test. Also, at the same time, we should not take more time for mixing also. So the concrete sample that we use for doing slump test, it should be fresh. Okay, so next we'll move on to the compaction factor test.
Test on fresh concrete by compaction factor. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define compaction factor, demonstrate the test on fresh concrete by compaction factor, explain the advantages and disadvantages of compaction factor test. We all would have performed this activity at our home, that is, filling up a container. Assume that you are trying to transfer the grains from the rice bag to a container. You lift the bag and place it close to the mouth of the container and allow the rice to fall into the container. After filling 3 by 4 of the container, you will try to compact the filled rice by shaking the container, won't you? In the same situation, what if the rice is poured into the container from a particular height? While falling from a certain height, the grains get compacted internally due to the gravitational force applied. Then, you shake the container externally. When you compare both the conditions, external energy for the first condition is more than the second condition. Do you know the reason for this? It is because the grains that fall from a certain height get compacted internally, and then you shake the container externally. Likewise, when the concrete is made to fall from a certain height, concrete gets compacted internally, and then a lesser amount of external force is applied to compact the remaining concrete. Thus, its compaction efficiency will be more. The test which considers this factor is called as compaction factor test.
So I hope you understood about in this video whatever they have told. So most of we have done this in our homes also. So especially when we are transferring the rice grain to a container, most of we have done. So sometimes we used to keep the rice bag close to the mouth of the container sometimes, and also most of the times we try to make sure that will make sure that the rice grain has been fall from certain height. In both these cases, uh, the external force that you require more to compact is for the first case, where you are keeping a rice grain close to the mouth of the container. Okay, when you make sure, when you make the rice grain to fall from certain height, since it is falling from certain height because of the gravity, so the rice grain tends to compact internally. So if you put minimum effort, if you shake the container with the minimum effort, it will come to a level surface, whereas for the first case you have to put more effort to make the rice grain in a container to a level surface. So the test that measures this factor, that is the compaction factor test. Okay, so compaction factor is more precise and sensitive than the slump test, because it is suitable for even for a concrete which is having low workability. Also, we can able to get the precise and the accurate value when even when the concrete is having low consistency. So, whereas such concrete is insensitive to the slump test, as already told, stiff mix or dry mix cannot be done by means of a slump test. It is the most efficient test for measuring the workability of the concrete, but it is not used in the site. So, this test cannot be used in the site because we want a level platform, and also this instrument is not portable compared, just like it is not like a slump cone where you have slump cone, tamping rod, and a base plate. So this is not a portable instrument, so that's why it cannot be used in the site, but whereas this test can be used in the laboratory. So this test works on the principle of degree of compaction, which is called as compaction factor. So compaction factor is nothing but it is a ratio of partially compacted weight of the concrete to the fully compacted weight of the concrete. So what do you mean by partially compacted, what do you mean by fully compacted, we'll see in the coming slides. So it is nothing, compaction factor is nothing but it is a ratio of partially compacted weight of the concrete to the fully compacted weight of the concrete, and the compaction factor value is always less than 1. So these are the instrument, that is a compaction factor instrument. You have two hoppers. So A and B is the upper hopper, and second B is the lower hopper, and C is the cylinder, and the required dimensions is given, it is as per the Indian standards. In these two hoppers, at the bottom of the upper hopper you can see a trap door, which is white in color. So that door you can able to open it. Similarly, at the bottom hopper or the lower hopper also you have a trap door, you can open that door. And C is the cylinder, which can there is no trap door over there, but that cylinder is uh, uh, it is fixed to the base plate, so there is no trap door. So then you can use the tamping rod and the trowel. So these are the instruments that we use for the compaction factor test. So I'll directly move on to the. So here, based on our concrete proportion, we have to take up the materials and we have to able to mix it. And what is the bottom cylinder which was there, we have to take the empty weight of the cylinder. Okay. So that empty weight of the cylinder, we should take a weight of it and we should make a note also. So that is the empty weight of the cylinder. Then we should mix the concrete as per the required proportions. Once the concrete is mixed, then we should make the concrete to fill the upper hopper till the till its brim. Okay, that till it's remains till the top, we should able to mix the able to place the concrete in the upper hopper. Once it is done, then we should open the trap door which is there at the bottom of the upper hopper. Then concrete will fall into the lower hopper, and there also we should open the trap door. Now concrete is made to fall into a cylinder, and then we have to neatly uh, level the top surface, and we have to take the weight of the cylinder. Now in the beginning we have taken the weight of the empty weight of the cylinder. Now we have taken the weight of the cylinder including its concrete. So obviously the weight of the cylinder plus concrete will be more. So the difference between those two, between W2 and the W1, that is the weight of the empty cylinder, that gives a weight of the partially compacted concrete. Now here partially compacted means when the concrete is made to fall from a certain height, so concrete tends to compact internally. So we are not going to fully compact the concrete, whereas concrete tries to compact itself internally. That is why it is a partially compacted concrete. So next, once again, all the concrete which is there in the cylinder has to be dropped to the surface, and then concrete has to be filled in three layers. At every layer we have to compact it. So now once again the top layer has to be neatly leveled, and we should take a weight of the contain cylinder plus concrete. So this gives the difference between the concrete plus cylinder to the weight of the cylinder. So this is now it is a weight of the fully compacted concrete, because now all the layers of concrete has been compacted internally, as well as the external compaction is also done. So that is why it is a fully compacted concrete. So the ratio between the weight of the partially compacted concrete to the weight of the fully compacted concrete gives the compaction factor. It is less than, it is always it is less than 1. So just I will brief out the procedure. So before the test is done, all the hoppers and the cylinder has to be cleaned. So we have whatever the concrete that we used as per the mixed proportion, whatever we have mixed. So concrete has to be prepared. Then the concrete has to be filled in the upper hopper till its rim of the level of the hopper we have to fill. Once the concrete is filled in the upper hopper, we have to remove the trap door. So concrete we have make sure that the concrete will follow into the middle, that is the lower hopper. Once the concrete fall into the lower hopper, we have to remove the trap door once again. Then whatever the sample concrete is there, it will fall into a bottom cylinder. So in that cylinder, first we have to neatly leveled with the trowel. Then we have to take the weight of that. So the difference between the weight of the cylinder plus concrete minus the weight of the cylinder gives the weight of the partially compacted concrete. So then whatever the concrete which was there in the cylinder, we have to pour it to the ground surface, and then we have to mix it once again, and then we have to fill in the cylinder with the three layers, at compacting at every layer by means of a standard bar or any other compaction techniques. We have to compact each layer. Then we have to neatly level the top surface, and then we have to take the weight of it. So weight of the cylinder plus concrete to the weight of the cylinder gives the weight of the fully compacted concrete. So the ratio between partially compacted to the fully compacted is the compaction factor of the concrete. So these are some of the compaction factors that is has to be used in the site. If there is slump value, then you can use slump value. If we use compaction factor, then we can able, based on the slump and compaction factor, you can able to judge for what type of concrete work or what type of construction work these concrete has to be used. So as I already told, for medium, that is for a heavily reinforced slab beam and column construction, and the slump we have seen already in the picture, it should be around 50 to 100. Similarly, in terms of compaction factor, it should be around 0.92 to 0.93. So for that, the application is we can use it for normal heavy reinforced section. So this is regarding the compaction factor. In the next video, we'll study about VB consistometer and the slump test. Sorry, VB consistometer and the flow test. Thank you.